From undersea volcanoes to deep-sea creatures such as the anglerfish, our oceans are full of wonders. One of these marvels is an ocean gyre. An ocean gyre is simply a naturally occurring vortex of wind and currents that rotate in a clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere. There are 5 main gyres in our oceans. The newest gyre to be discovered was the Indian Ocean Gyre in 2010. It is one of the 3 gyres in the southern hemisphere. This gyre is also known as the monsoon current because of the seasonal monsoon winds that drive it. Unlike its 4 siblings, the Indian Ocean Gyre has a strange habit. During the summer, the currents reverse from their natural direction and the gyre starts to spin clockwise. This occurs because the winter winds blow from sea onto land, but the seasonal summer winds blow from the Tibetan Plateau in the northeast or from the land to sea. It is surprising that it wasn't discovered sooner, because it is at least 5 million square kilometers or 2 million square miles. Unfortunately, like all gyres, this gyre has a garbage patch. The garbage gets taken on a 6-year cycle around the gyre before settling down in the middle, where bits of plastic can remain hundreds of years. One of the ways the garbage is currently affecting us is in the hindrance it causes in the search for the missing passenger airline, MH370. This airline is assumed to have crashed in this area. The plane is said to be broken down into 300 plus pieces. That may seem like a lot, but there are already 300,000 plus pieces of plastic floating around. Even if the investigators could get around the problem of pinpointing where the missing plane went down, the currents would pull all the debris quite far away from the crash site. A good example of this is when part of the plane's wing was found on Reunion Island. If the plane crashed off the coast of Australia, the debris would have been carried up the West Australia Current and then got caught in the South Equatorial Current, which would dump it on Reunion Island. Because of these problems, this search has been called the most difficult search in human history. This gyre also majorly affects the climate. Apart from the monsoon rains in South Asia, it moderates the heat and precipitation around the Indian Ocean. For example, take 2 cities around this gyre: Perth, Australia, and Richards Bay, South Africa. In Perth, the average annual precipitation is around 807 millimeters, or 32 inches. However, in Richards Bay, the average annual precipitation reaches a staggering 1,123 millimeters, or 44 inches. Although this is not even close to a world record, it means that the whole landscape gets over a meter of rainfall every year. This amount of rain is equivalent to 4.5 months of continuous rainfall. The temperatures of both cities also vary quite a bit. In Perth, the average annual temperature reaches 19 degrees Celsius, or 66 degrees Fahrenheit. On the other hand, Richards Bay has an average annual temperature of 22 degrees Celsius, or 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature differences may be explained by saying Perth is 133 kilometers, or 204 miles, closer to Antarctica than Richards Bay. However, this explanation does not explain why Richards Bay has more rainfall than Perth. The most likely reason why Perth receives less rainfall than Richards Bay is simply because the West Australia Current, which is closest current to Perth, is a cold current, but the Agulhas Current, the closest to Richards Bay, is a warm current. So what do currents have to do with precipitation? The easy answer is that warm currents release more water into the atmosphere through evaporation than cold currents do. This water vapor condenses, gets heavy, and falls back to the earth as some form of precipitation. The temperatures can also be explained through warm and cold currents. When the air blows over the sea towards the land, the ocean cools or warms the wind according to which current the wind is blowing over. In conclusion, our oceans are an amazing part of this world, and they need to be treated with respect as they directly influence the climate and life on planet Earth.